Now adjust the volume control so that the sound can be heard in all parts of the room.
This is the Protect Your Assets podcast.
You get the idea?
It's on the internet.
Make him the cutest that I've ever seen.
Go on.
Give him two lips like
It's like no cheese I've ever tasted.
tell him that his
Here's the Sandman.
over Sandman.
Are you thinking about retiring in the next 6 months? Well, are you ready? Well, if you've thought about retiring, or even if you're retired, my team and I have prepared a 34-point retirement checklist that will see if you're really ready to retire. And today I'll be going over some of the surprises I found in there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So take a big gulp of that ritual coffee and let's get started. Good morning. I am David Hollander, your host, and this is Protect Your Assets Radio. For those of you just joining it for the first time, welcome. People around here, you hear the jingle, they call me the Sandman. And that's because I help my listeners sleep well at night, because I've been running a tax, legal, and financial firm for over 30 years. We do that. We do your taxes, we do your trusts, and we manage your money. If something is worth doing, it's worth doing right. We believe there's a particular time of life. This phrase couldn't be more appropriate: retirement. So today, if you're thinking of retiring or you just retired, you're going to want to hear about some of the things you'll need to think about. And that's because my team and I have a list of retirement survey. That's pretty good. And there's a lot of good questions in here. We'll hit the highlights and we'll talk about it as you ask the question, are you ready to retire? Coming up next, why is it one of the most complicated things you need to prepare for in retirement? We'll find out. You're listening to the Protect Your Assets show with David Hollander. I'm the Sandman. We'll be right back.
Take the first step toward reaching your financial goals and get the information that can help you live a confident retirement. That first step is going to pyaevents.com and signing up for our next free event. That's pyaevents.com. Now back to Protect Your Assets with David Hollander, the Sandman.
Welcome back. I'm David Hollander, also known as the Sandman, and you are listening this morning to Protect Your Assets. If you're just joining us, well, we're talking about taking a retirement checklist challenge to see if you are ready to retire. In fact, we have 34 boxes that either have a check or a fill-in. And if you can complete these all with 100% confidence, well, you're in really good shape. And this all started this past week because Pam came in. She's been working for the same company for 40 years. They were just bought by a larger company, and she doesn't like the new management. So Pam is thinking about leaving work next month and retiring, but she just doesn't know what she doesn't know. So we started to go through this checklist challenge, and I thought today that would be a great idea for us to do. If you missed any of today's show, particularly the market segment where I just talked about, is this a stock market bubble right now? Well, go check out our podcast wherever you get your podcast by typing in Protect Your Assets and then look for the market segment, and you will catch up on what we're talking about. All right, well, let's start out with this checklist challenge. I'm going to start out first with Pam's biggest question, and that was income. She wanted to know when she retires, where will she get her paychecks from? Because essentially those will stop. So we have a section on the top of the checklist challenge, and hold tight because I'll talk about how you can get your hands on this, where it goes through a bunch of different things. So I'm going to start out with the first section, which deals with income. Now, can you say this with all confidence? I have a written budget for all necessary and discretionary spending. Yes or no? Based on that budget, I have an estimate of the income I will need each year when I retire. Think about that. Do you know how much you're going to spend when you stop working? This is a big question because a lot of people end up spending more than they did while they were working. You heard me. You're not commuting anymore, but you're doing everything that you always wanted to do, and every day is kind of like a Saturday. So do you have enough income to do that? Well, here's some things you can write down as some numbers you're going to want to get together to answer that question. Like what? Well, first, the big one, Social Security. As we all know, Social Security is changing. In fact, the Social Security just said, starting this month, August 1st of 25, the Social Security full retirement age rises to, get this, 66 years and 10 months for those people born in 1959. Those born in 1960 or later, which is me, well, my full retirement age is 67 starting next year in 26. So right now, August of 25, and one of my buddies, Rick, it's his birthday right now, so Rick, happy birthday. But August of 25, your Social Security FRA just changed to 66 years and 10 months. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? It means a lot, actually, because if you take income and you're not at your FRA, you're going to pay a lot more in a penalty tax. That's right, a lot more. It could be as high as 50%. That's a lot. So you've got to get a handle on your Social Security income, and when and how you take it is critical. What's another one? Well, maybe you're lucky enough to have a pension. So you got to get in front of your pension income. Last week, we had another client who worked for a company, and she had a pension option when she turned 65. And so we were doing her review, and she asked me about that. And I said, hey, why don't you just request an in-force illustration from them so we could take a look at your options? Well, she did, and she had three different options that she could choose from when it came to taking her pension next month when she turned 65. And so we looked at that in relation to her husband's age and their income sources from different places, and we made a decision based on that and the choices the company was offering her. Because again, it is relative. It is a matter of getting more income out of what these entities are going to pay you, but if you're not looking at the big picture, you're just leaving chips on the table, as I always say. How about this other one, rental income? This is a big one. A lot of our clients, including myself, we own rental real estate. We love real estate, but are you really getting the maximum value out of that? Consider this, here in California, now that insurance rates are going crazy because of all the wildfires that keep happening, because of the risk that's out there of tenants and suing you, and just the value of the properties that are still there because of our fabulous weather. Well, you may have a lot of equity in the ground and you're not really realizing that all when you really look at it on your tax return. Question, is there a better way to 1031 that equity out of that property, pay no capital gain tax, get yourself a cash flow of 5 to 8%, where right now maybe you're getting 1 to 2 with all the risk? The answer to your question is, could be, but if you're not looking at that, well, you're again just leaving chips on the table, and that is sacrificing your overall retirement if you're not ready for that. So again, this is the types of questions that we want to get into as we go through this checklist challenge. Now, what other things must you know about? Well, how about this one? Do you know what year you should retire? That's right. What year is the best year for you to retire? That's a question. If it's within 5 years, has your advisor or advisors plural, have they calculated and documented for you in writing that you can check regularly as things change, how much income you're going to pull when you start to walk away? If you don't know that, well, you should, and it is possible. Our income plan does that for you. We use a very sophisticated technology that links into all of your accounts, whether we manage them or not. That can help us answer that very complex question as we start to integrate your tax return into your financial health. How about this one? My income plan is inflation adjusted. What just happened? Well, we know tariffs are in place right now. Tariffs are coming. They're kicking up right now. If you looked at all the recent tariffs that just happened, the deals that were just made with Britain, with the EU, with Vietnam, like all these are up there. Brazil, like you see the numbers. What does that mean? Canada, what does that mean to your inflation that you're going to pay just to be here in the U.S. and still buy and live the life that you're living? You better have that into your income plan, because inflation can eat up those dollars that you would otherwise spend. Of course, our plan has inflation, and you can change the inflation to whatever you think it is. And on an inflation adjusted basis, you need to be looking at your income plan over your life expectancy. That's another good one. How long does your plan last? Well, typically we put age 95 in there. And so if you go all the way to 95, well, your income should keep pace with your life expenses and your life plan, and it should be there for you and your spouse. And if it's not, well, you've got a problem. So these are the things that we look at. And we also take inventory. Here's some other ones you may want to write down. Take inventory of your household assets, particularly with the risk of fire right now. I was talking to Julie a couple weeks ago. She unfortunately was in the Palisades fire. She had all of her photographs from college in binders in her kitchen that she had just remodeled in the Palisades. And she heard the risk of the fires coming, and she pulled all those together and took them to her office, which was on the border of Santa Monica and Palisades, thinking that they would be safe there. Well, unfortunately, her house did not burn down, even though all the neighbors around her did. And her office burned down. So she lost all of those photographs and all those important papers, which she felt that were safe and secure. Take inventory of your household assets and figure out what's important to you. What must you keep? Perhaps in a digital format in the cloud, where if a fire were to happen, would your things be safe? Would you be able to recover them when you need them most? These are the types of questions we ask because of experience. We had clients in the Santa Rosa fires. We have clients in the Southern California fires. We've been through this with people. And by having a digital vault in the cloud where they can upload and keep what's important to them has made a big difference in their life. So again, these are things that we will go through in this checklist challenge that maybe you're not aware of, that are obvious, but you just haven't seen it. So, question, are you thinking of retiring? Well, if so, please call us right now and get your hands on this checklist challenge, because I'm going to give it to you right now in a PDF format. All I need is your email. I'm more than happy to share this with you this morning, but you have to call me. Pick up the phone right now, dial this number, 866-PROTECT. My team, Lucas, Nick, they're standing by right now ready to talk to you. Call them, 866-PROTECT. That number, 866-776-8328. Give us a call, and we will go ahead and send this checklist challenge to you right now. Give us a call, 866-PROTECT. It's absolutely free because you're listening to me right now. 866-PROTECT. Get your checklist challenge. Coming up next, it's time for our popular They Say segment, where they say once you leave your company, COBRA will cover your health care. Is this really true? And where should you get your medical and health care in retirement? Find out. These are the things we're talking about this morning. You certainly don't want to miss this one. You're listening to Protect Your Assets with David Hollander. I'm the Sandman, and I'll be right back.
Take the first step toward reaching your financial goals and get the information that can help you live a confident retirement. That first step is going to pyaevents.com and signing up for our next free event. That's pyaevents.com. Now back to Protect Your Assets with David Hollander, the Sandman.
Welcome back. I am David Hollander, also known as the Sandman, and you're listening to Protect Your Assets this morning. Are you dreaming of the perfect retired life? Well, if you're hoping to retire sooner rather than later, then you've tuned into the right place this morning, as we're talking about the biggest issues that you will face in your retirement, because we're taking the retirement checklist challenge this morning, and we're covering some things you might want to know about before you retire to increase your chances of success in retirement. And that reminds me, if you missed any of today's show, well, go check out our podcast wherever you get your podcast. You just type in the following: Protect Your Assets. That is the name of our show, Protect Your Assets, bringing you all the latest tax changes, market news, and legal things that you need to know about. Today's no different as we're covering it, but all you have to do where you get your podcast is type in the search glass, Protect Your Assets, and you'll find all the different shows. So if you want to know about taxes or small cap value funds, just type in Protect Your Assets and what you're looking for. And chances are we've done a show on it, and it'll be there and you can listen to it. And if you enjoy it, please share it with your friends. That means a lot to me. Now it's time for one of our fan favorite parts of the show. This is our They Say segment, where we debunk common myths, half-truths, and sometimes just bad advice that they say.
Who are they? What do they know that I don't? And what are they saying this week? Here's David Hollander, the Sandman's answer.
All I know is that I don't know.
All right, so here's one they say. They say that once you leave your company, COBRA will cover you. This is for healthcare now, by the way. Is this really true? And where should you get your medical and healthcare in retirement to save possibly thousands of dollars over the year that you leave work? Well, the answer to this question depends on your age. If you retire before age 65, I know there's some of you out there thinking about that right now, well, then you need to know about your plan for major medical insurance, because you're not going to be eligible for Medicare. You're not eligible for Medicare until you're 65. So if you leave work before 65, or that's your plan, then look at the COBRA option that will follow you when you leave. You should get a notice in the mail that would offer you COBRA. Now, keep in mind, it's going to be a lot more expensive than what you were paying for while you were on the job, because now you're paying for 100% of that, as opposed to where the company typically pays part and you pay part, or they pay all and you pay nothing. I mean, these are the way that these plans work. And so that could be a big change for you. So depending on your age, if you're under 65, keep that in mind. Now, if you're over age 65, you still will get that notice, but you are eligible for Medicare. And so if that is you, what I would recommend you do is which Medicare options. Now, I did an entire show on this subject because there's a lot to talk about when it gets to Medicare. And so again, that's where you'd go check out my podcast. Wherever you get a podcast, type in Protect Your Assets and Medicare, and we have those updates annually, and we just did a show back in May on the subject. So go check that out, where you find out more about what your Medicare options are, because if you're over 65, you need to know that. And I would recommend on an annual basis that you check that you go back and you look at Medicare each year and see how you used it the preceding year, and if you really did get the most out of that plan by getting with somebody who knows Medicare, who stays on top of all the options that are there. When it comes to the monthly cost, when it comes to your exposure, when it comes to your out-of-pocket deductible and expenses, and just health concerns that you might have. A good agent who works with all the companies that fit into the Medicare umbrella is a great way just to get ahead of it. And that's what their job is. Their job is to meet with you annually and figure out what makes sense. And we have people that we work with that do that for our clients. So if that's something that you're thinking about or considering, you can always give us a call at 866-PROTECT, and find out more about your Medicare. Now, this was a recent survey that just came out from Fidelity. Fidelity data shows that retiring at 65 in 2025 could cost you $172,500 in healthcare expenses. This is for one person. This is up 4% from last year in 2024. Many Americans remain unprepared. In fact, according to Fidelity, 20% haven't considered healthcare at all in retirement savings planning. And why this matters is because folks aren't really using the health savings accounts. Now, I did an entire show on health savings account, HSAs, and the utilization of these, according to the survey, is still very, very low among those who are age 55 to 64. Having an HSA is important as it enables you to have a contingency fund and a tax advantaged way to invest your money in the market and over time, hopefully have it grow so you can mitigate or help have those tax-free dollars available to you later when your healthcare could be that much more expensive. So as you can see, healthcare is a complicated subject. It's something that you should get an advanced plan behind it that you would review with your advisor or advisors if you have multiple people on your team to figure out what makes sense for you. And I know this is another one that you may not have thought about or gotten into just because it ramps up so fast, it gets so unclear, right? Especially if you're not talking to somebody who knows what they're doing or that's keeping track with everything that's changing all the time. So if that's you and you need some help, if any of this information today has been helpful to you, well, imagine what you could do, how you could accomplish your objectives if you had advice that was tailored to you. If you boil it down, our mission at the Liberty Group, again, our company is known as the Liberty Group. We are here to help you protect your money, your lifestyle, so you can remain financially independent and do all the things you've always wanted to do in confidence because you're not worried about all the things that the media is talking about all the time. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't touch you because you have a plan. You know what you're doing. You're on top of it. You're keeping up with everything because your advisors are educating you consistently on what you need to know. If that doesn't fit what you're doing right now, if you're uncertain about tax deductions, the big beautiful bill, healthcare, the market, any of this, well, you're not alone. You can get help right now. How? You can pick up the phone. You can call us. We will send you the checklist challenge that I'm going through right now, which is, again, a great outline on what you should know, what you should be thinking about right now. 866-PROTECT, remove the gray area, wondering if you can retire. Find out right now. Get a free copy of this checklist right now. Call this number, 866-776-8328. Again, 866-776-8328. Get your complimentary checklist emailed to you right now, 866-PROTECT. Keep it tuned right here because when we come back, we'll share how not considering this last issue could force you to wind up regretting retirement. Don't let that be you. The answer's coming up next. We'll be right back.
If you missed any of Protect Your Assets with David Hollander, all you have to do is go to pyaradio.com where you can download or listen to our latest shows for free. Just go to pyaradio.com on your computer or mobile device when it's most convenient for you. That's pyaradio.com. Now back to Protect Your Assets with David Hollander, the Sandman.
Welcome back. I am David Hollander, also known as the Sandman, and you are listening to Protect Your Assets this morning. And isn't that name right now, Protect Your Assets, so relevant when markets are at all-time highs? And we keep wondering, is it going to go higher? Mark asked me that great question, which I covered at the top of the show, which was, are we in a bubble right now? And is AI going to bring us down? Well, if you wanted to find out the answer to that question, you've got to go get a hold of our podcast where I I cover that in the market segment. How do you do that? Well, wherever you get your podcast, type in Protect Your Assets and then look for the market segment. That has a profile of me on it as opposed to the character, the Sandman character, which is the actual show, because we have two different podcasts out there. Look for the one that is the market segment, again, with my profile, and you can find out about the market. So today we are taking the Retirement Checklist Challenge. We're trying to find out if you are ready to retire, and there's a lot of great information that we've been covering in this piece that we're giving out this morning. The big one, the one I talked about before the break, which was the one that could cause you to regret retirement. I've seen this happen so many times. And typically when we meet with somebody, we bring this one up. What is it? Well, if you're within 5 years of retirement, and particularly now with the market being where it is right now, I've been looking and doing reviews with a lot of clients who are moderate, quote, moderate investors, which means a certain thing to us. And looking at the overall, profitability of the last 5 years, looking pretty strong. You're wondering, well, when's this going to change? Is this real? Is this realistic? Well, you've got to get in touch with your risk and your risk management. And that's something that we do every time with our client, and we stay on top of that because we have a electronic digital AI thing that has an algorithm which tracks that for you, that we link to your portfolio. What am I talking about? Well, this is a risk profile of you. And so right now your portfolio could be way ahead of where you're comfortable with risk. What am I talking about? Well, we have a tool. I call it the Portfolio MRI. It's a checklist where it actually asks you a bunch of personal questions as you feel about your money, and then it gives your current portfolio right down to each individual position that you own. It could be a stock, it could be a mutual fund, it could be an ETF. We can show you the risk that that's taking. We can show you over the next 6 months how much that position with a 95% probability could go down. Think about that. If you knew how much you were going to go down in the next 6 months, and you were feeling pretty comfortable with the profit you made right now, might you take some chips off the table, particularly if you're going to retire soon and live off of that? The answer to that question is probably yes. So if you haven't done that yet, if you haven't made changes, this is the issue. Changes to your risk level as you get closer to retirement, you may need to do that. And if you're in a target date fund or a risk adjusted fund as you get closer to retirement that's in your 401k, I would ask you to put that into our program. We'll give this to you as a complimentary service. If you book a meeting with us, we'll run these numbers through our system and show you where you are. In fact, those funds aren't all the same. Just because they say they're 2025s doesn't mean they're all the same risk level. The portfolio managers put different things, different bonds, different stocks, different allocations in their portfolios, which cause those things to move up and down, even though they're 2025s in different ways. So if you're not sure what the risk is on your portfolio right now, get a handle on that now. Find out what your downside is right now and make some adjustments now. So when you retire in 5 months, 1 year, 3 years, you know with certainty how much income and where that income is going to come from. So it'll be there when those challenging times come. Remember, no matter how foolproof you think your plan is, if you're not using all the latest technology tools that are available out there and staying on top of it and having a team look at it, who look at taxes, who look at the market, who look at the legal issues that could hit you, if you're not looking at all that together, you may be exposed. And when bad things happen, they tend to happen in a big way, and it's hard to work your way back. So this is where I would encourage you right now. Please get a handle of this now. Before it's too late. Get your hands on the checklist. We can give this to you this morning. It's a great 34-point checklist on things that you need to know. If you haven't looked at this, if you're thinking about it, I'm happy to share this with you this morning because you're listening to me right now. Call this number, 866-PROTECT, we will go ahead and ask you for your email. We'll then turn around and send this PDF to you that I'm going through right now, so you can see if you're prepared. Literally, it takes you less than 5 minutes to read through this whole thing. Isn't your financial future worth it? Find out what you don't know right now. Pick up the phone, dial this number, 866-776-8328. You'll talk to Lucas, you'll talk to Nick. We're more than happy this morning right now to help you figure this out. Call us, 866-PROTECT, and find out what you don't know. Pick up the phone and get a personal meeting with one of our advisors, 866-PROTECT. I'd like to give a big thanks to the Protect Your Assets team for putting together another great show today. My executive producer and network manager, Kevin Renfer, and of course, all my fabulous producers back there, Raph, Lucas, Nick. Thanks, you guys, for doing all the heavy lifting today, because without my team, I'm just another pretty voice on the radio. Thanks again, everybody. You have been listening to the Protect Your Assets show. I am David Hollander, the Sandman. Go out and make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Investment advisory services are offered through Liberty Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions. The strategies mentioned are not suitable for everyone. The information expressed does not consider your specific situation or objectives and may not be appropriate for all investors. Past performance is not indicative of future results. To better understand the risk associated with investing and how it reacts to different market conditions, listeners should always consult with their qualified investment professionals, financial advisors, legal or tax specialists, and conduct their due diligence before making any financial decisions or taking any action. The legal information provided on the air is not intended to substitute for callers hiring their lawyers to advise them about personal legal matters. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Liberty Group LLC paid for the following program, and the host's views and opinions do not represent those of the station or its ownership. California Life Agent number 048569. Persons engaging the services of one affiliate of Liberty Group LLC companies should be aware that each company is operated separately. You're listening to the Protect Your Assets Radio Network.